Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and I am joined by my business partner and colleague, Charles Parisi. He is the founder and CEO of Cloudcast Media. How you doing there, Charles?
I am doing fantastic, Drew. Nice to share the mic with you here on a beautiful Friday morning at Mission Fed Studios.
It is, absolutely. I'm going to let you do the honors in introducing our next guest.
Well, I'll tell you, thank you for doing that, first of all. And you, by the way, you have a connection to this guest that we'll let the audience. We'll reveal it to the audience.
We'll reveal it to the audience. Actually, if they can text us and send it in, we'll give them a free podcast anywhere, anytime.
Well, I'm really excited for a couple of different reasons to introduce Manny Keriakos, who's the owner of Cheers Deli in San Carlos, Del Cerro, La Mesa community, serves all those communities, because not only is a fantastic human being who has built an incredible business, but he's also the epitome of how do you build an incredible, sustainable small business in America, in San Diego, or a community of your choosing. So, Manny Keriakos, welcome to Spotlight in the Community.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Drew.
Honored to have you. Now, we'll just get to it right now. So, Manny just was sharing with me that his favorite person that would come in and stock his wonderful, iconic deli was none other than my former college roommate, Ken Johnson, who worked for Frito-Lay for many years. And Kenny speaks very highly of Cheers. And we're going to get to this in a few seconds here. Obviously, Charles knows Kenny as well. And so, Kenny, you have a lot of good memories of Kenny, do you not?
Oh, absolutely. Kenny was my sales rep for Frito-Lay for many years, and he was one of the best ones because he was thorough. And you learn from people like that.
Yeah.
We got to make sure Kenny gets a copy of this tape.
Yeah.
Oh no, Kenny. Well, he used to co-host on my show. So then, next time that we have Manny on, and there will be another time we'll have Manny on, we'll bring Kenny on with him. What do you think?
That would be fun, and particularly if Kenny decides to bring some potato chips.
He still has some, I think. Well, his wife works at Frito-Lay.
They're stale by now.
Yeah. No. His wife works for Frito-Lay, right?
I'm sorry.
His wife works for Frito-Lay.
Oh, still, I did not know.
Oh, so we have a chip connection.
100%.
Oh, that's fantastic. I like those jalapeno heat ones, Drew.
100%. Well, first of all, I know you have a bunch of questions also for Manny, but how did you come up with the name of Cheers?
Well, I was sitting watching TV for day after day after day, and I couldn't come up with a name for the store. So, and I'm watching Cheers every night, and there it is. Cheers is Cheers.
What did you love? Well, first of all, it's great that that happened, that you were watching the show. But what about Cheers, the show, did you love most?
The culture of the show, that closeness, the customers, the regulars, that whole atmosphere of community.
Wow. And so, do you think that choosing that name, did that influence how you ran your business?
I think they're both connected. The name is a happy name. The community is, and the community needs businesses like that, where it's a community business.
Well, you're 100% correct, and I know Charles speaks about your place fondly. He's only in there, 5 times a week?
About 5 times.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right, because you won't let him in 6 and 7. I don't blame you. But Kenny, I think, is a frequent visitor as well, and he speaks with reverence of your place, just exactly how you described Cheers. And you're right. You know the Cheers, the show, you know the characters. It's like they're your friends, okay?
Absolutely.
Norm and Cliffy. And,
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Who was your favorite character on Cheers, Drew?
I'd have to give some, probably Norm, and just because I loved you always waited for his lines, because walk in, Norm, how's it going? These two butt cheeks on that chair, that's one of my favorite lines. And all that.
How about you, man? Who was your favorite character on Cheers?
Cliff Clavin was, he knew everything.
Our associate producer, Brandon Joe, is going to have to now Google Cheers. All right. Exactly. 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 So what was yours, Charles?
Boy.
Carla? I could see the New York type of a person.
Yeah, I liked her spunky personality.
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't think I could pick one because it's an ensemble. I like them all.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
I don't know that I could pick one.
I just like the writers were brilliant because Norm could deliver those lines, and you always waited for what is he going to say to open the show.
Well, don't forget Kelsey Grammer's part.
Kelsey was great with Lilith and so forth, and they all were. And I love the people that would just pop their head ins as well, and that's beautiful. And shockingly and embarrassingly, I've not been to Manny's Cheers. I'm going to make a point of it to do that, and I guarantee you, when you walk in there, people are going to feel at home. That's why Charles goes there 5 times a week. This is home.
Well, I'll tell you, if we ever decide to take the show back, because Manny, occasionally we record in the community. We intentionally leave the studio, go into the community.
We need to do
that.
Oh
boy, if we do it from Cheers Deli,
we're gonna.
The only problem is we're going to eat all 4 episodes, and we'll never talk to anyone.
Well, I don't care. I want to hear about the great sandwiches that he makes and all that business. We're chatting with Manny Keriakos. He is the owner and manager of Cheers Deli and Golden Cheers Catering, joined by my colleague, business partner, and the CEO and founder of Cloudcast Media, Charles Parisi, on another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission-Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, just doing great work. So that's great. You came up with the name, 1989 is when you were founded, correct?
Correct.
And so is this the first business you've owned?
No, I owned a smaller store, a retail store, for 4 years before that.
Right, exactly. So you had a little experience, but when you own your own business, Charles has been an entrepreneur since age 25. I was a little bit older when I became an entrepreneur, but I've been one since 2000 and actually before that, 2006. And then you turn around and you look, okay, who's there? Oh, it's me. It's all on you and, of course, the people. What would you say, when you first started Cheers, did you hit the ground running, or was it very different than your other business? It was
completely different. It was a retail store. It was a spirits and wine shop, but was not a community shop. It was a part of a chain.
Okay.
And the chain dissolved eventually. And there's this place here in the community, in the middle of the community, with no personality. And slowly, I went in, slowly built the place into a community place. Added a deli because that's my passion. Food is so that's how Cheers came about, to become more than just a convenient store.
Charles, how long have you been going to Cheers?
Oh gosh, it's been let's just call it 10 years. It's been quite a while. But I'm going to tell you what's I have to give you my lens, because I'm in there so often. And then one of the reasons why I was so excited to have Manny come on is because I'm passionate about entrepreneurship and small business.
100%.
We spend a lot of time in the Ivy Towers of America talking about education programs and poverty programs and closing wealth gaps. And I believe sometimes it's a lot simpler than we make it out to be. Because when I'm in there and I see Manny and run his business, and I've even had such enjoyment, Manny, of watching your father in there.
Thank you.
Straightening out with meticulous attention to detail the potato chip racks.
That's his specialty, yes.
So the key is, talk to us about How did you, in fact, build a successful small business? Because I think you've got an ethos, a culture, pillars that anyone could learn from. So talk to us about how did you build such a successful, revered local community business?
Well, I wish I knew everything I knew when I started, because it became...
Yeah, like all of us.
100%.
Because it became a learning experience. And that's the best kind of education you can get. The best kind of knowledge you gain is by a trial and error.
Learn by doing.
Learning. Yeah. And
by failing.
By failing. Failing is the best lesson you learn.
100%.
Absolutely. So over the years, you learn and you build and you learn and you build and you grow. And this is what happened. And halfway into my business career, I decided to expand and get more into the food business and get into catering. And I opened a bagel shop and started doing catering out of there. But eventually, all these things started to come together. And what I've learned from all that is it is really a simple journey if you follow some steps in building a business.
Yeah, Charles and I love talking about this. We're sports guys. Are you a sports guy? You like sports?
A little bit soccer.
Okay, soccer. There, of course. And we say this all the time. It's all about blocking and tackling, and it's the same thing in business as it is in literally football or basketball. It's those things you do, and you just do them consistently, and you have the fundamentals. You know what? You're going to be successful.
That's absolutely true.
So 35 years later, here we are. What are some of those pillars that you would say, pretend you're talking to someone who wants to start a new business, whatever it is. Give us a feel for the pillars you've learned after 35 years.
So what I've learned halfway through learning experience is there's 4 things that sustain a business. You might want to call them the foundation of the business. The
cornerstones.
The cornerstones, yeah. So you have the customer, you have the employees, you have your vendors, the people that you do business with, like Kenny.
Like Kenny, right?
Exactly. And then you have regulatory agencies that you constantly deal with. There's no escape of it.
I'm actually glad you mentioned that one, because that's sometimes we like to, complain about the regulatory process, but I'm glad you brought them into the importance in your business.
Absolutely. We'll talk about this a little later, but
okay.
but regulatory agencies are the business needs them as much as
100%.
It's the very important aspect of the business. In my business, at least, there's the health department, of course, is very important in my business. But Charles and I talked about those steps, or you call them the manifestos.
The Manny Manifesto.
And so there is 7 items that we bring up all the time in a small business. Is the product, the culture of the business, the people that you hire and your customers, your vendors, and then the community, and then the compliances, and then eventually all these lead to profitability.
Yeah.
Economics of the business.
I want to jump in on one of them, Drew, unless you want to go first.
No, you go ahead.
Let's talk people.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you take care of your people?
Okay, so one of my favorite business people is Warren Buffett.
Okay.
And of course you cannot. In my business, it's a little harder, but he talked about when you hire people, you look for 3 characters in a person: integrity, intelligence, and energy. And he says, if an employee lacks integrity, forget about the other two characters. Don't hire him.
Yeah.
So
That's spot on, by the way.
So this is what I've always was eager to find the character of the person, or what kind of a person that is.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
On this, and agree 100%. Charles and I talk all about time. It's all about personalities, about relationships, about the people you bring in that follow your philosophy or whatever the philosophy is. But how do you know about the person's integrity when you really don't know the person that well?
So that's the challenge of a small business.
That's right.
And I think it's a challenge of all businesses.
It is.
But eventually, if you strive to hire people like that,
You have a sense.
you create a culture.
Yes.
The ones that do not fit in,
Right.
They leave, or you let them go, and you weed out the bad apples. You might not be successful 100%, but you will have a solid foundation if that's your core employee
Right.
base. If that's your key employees, then the business will build on that. So eventually, that feeds into the whole culture of the business. You bring in more employees like that, and they stick around, and then that feeds into the employee-employer loyalty.
Well, and also the customer loyalty. And we all know this. I'll use an example. And Charles knows he's going to laugh at this one, but one of my favorite places to eat, I happen to know the owners real well, is Yanni's Bar and Grill up in Scripps Ranch.
Oh, okay.
I'm there like incessantly, for God's sake. Not there as much as Charles is at Cheers, but I'm up there a lot, okay? But the culture that is established when you walk into Yanni's, and Charles has eaten with me, correct me if I'm wrong on that, everyone there treats you like you're their best friend.
No question about it.
And that's how Yanni, like you and his wife Denise, have trained that staff. This is how you're going to greet people, and they've done it for 20 years, like you have.
Absolutely.
So
Hospitality.
But everyone knows it's the Manny way, or however you want to say it, the Cheers way. And every employee you have, every touch point is going to be this, whether they just met. When I walk in there, okay, I know what's going to happen is I'm going to be greeted, whether I see you or not, by your employees that are going to treat me like I've been there, like Charles.
Well, again, I think we're hitting on something, Drew and Manny, that is so incredible. Because again, Julie, Irene, Frank, I know them by name. And they've been there a while. In today's day and age, it's not easy to hold on to employees unless you're treating them well.
Absolutely.
And why are they staying with you?
First of all, I love them. They care. I care. So over the years, it doesn't take long to actually have that connection with employees. You just become family, and this is what's good about these employees, that know where to draw the line between family and friendship and boss-employee relationship.
Manny, boy, I hope, Drew, some of the largest employers in the world and San Diego are listening, because sometimes small business thinks they can learn from the big honchos.
Other way around.
It's the other way around.
It's the other way around.
If big CEOs thought of family and I love my people, a lot of things would change in terms of how we pay, benefits, time off, everything.
Big businesses need to act like small businesses sometimes.
There's the quote of the day, Brandon Joe, for our social media.
Well, you're absolutely spot on it, and there's no reason why they can't. And when people use the excuse, well, I got so many employees, it doesn't make a difference. And it starts at the top. It absolutely starts at the top. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, everyone has to sit there and do their fair share. But if the CEO, I don't care if you're at SDG&E or if you're at, Cheers, whatever the case may be, this is what's expected in our culture is to do, and I'm going to hold myself to that accountability 10 times more than anyone, and I know you do. That's why you're successful, because you hold yourself to that same level times 80, correct?
Absolutely. I'm there. I have to be one of them. I'm not different. I have more responsibility.
Right.
I'm the CEO, whatever, but I'm an employee also.
So you one of your concepts then is to lead by example.
Absolutely. And this is where there is that disconnect between corporate American employees or employer-employee, where there is that friction between the employer and the employee, and it doesn't need to be.
Well, we're chatting with Manny Keriakos. He is the owner and manager of Cheers Deli and Golden Cheers Catering, which I want to get into in a bit, joined by my colleague and business partner, Charles Parisi, the founder and CEO of Cloudcast Media. I'm Drew Schlosberg. Listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show with Mission Fed Credit Union is the sponsor, which we're very grateful, for that. There's so much learning, and to Charles's, right, we could probably do a 15-episode deal just on Manny, and this would be a great primer for anybody who wants to do this. And you're so spot on this.
I actually think that. The more I think about it, I think Cloudcast needs to do a show called Family Business.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm going to share something and then I learned this. I was very fortunate to work for the San Diego Union Tribune for many, many years, ran community and public relations. And we brought in a CEO that changed the culture. And the culture was going to be, we're going to actually work like, good people. How about that? You treat the staff that reports to you well, you communicate. Yes. And he held everybody accountable. And he made sure that people were doing that. And one of the things that I learned on one of our trainings, and it was spot on, I never thought too much about it, shame on me. It was on one of the sessions, and we were trained in a variety of Zenger Miller training and Stephen Covey. And one of them was, as a senior level manager, when you do a nonverbal communication, you shrug your shoulders, you roll your eyes, you do something, your employees are looking at you.
Yeah.
Okay. And they are basing how they should react to something based on some nonverbal communication you did, or even verbal communication. Yeah. Boy, I tell you what, that opened my eyes to know that people are looking at me, whether they are my peers or whether they're people lower in the totem pole that don't work for me. And I know that is so important to you. They're looking at you.
Absolutely. So, like you said, you lead by example. Customer comes in, you open the door for them, that hospitality, that's how it starts. And then I noticed the way I behave, first of all, for me, hospitality is like opening my house. I spend 10, 12 hours a day in my business.
Right.
And so it's my home. And when my customers walk into the door, it's like a friend walking into my house. And that hospitality, greet them and all that, and the welcoming feeling. Then I started noticing my employees are doing the same.
Yeah. No, it's really, there's so much, my head is spinning right now, because now that I know, I think I need to do a family business show to really talk about, because every business should be a family business. So it's going to be a little double entendre there in terms of meaning. Manny, let me ask you a question, because here's something else I think I mentioned at the beginning. When you look at the vast Americans that have accumulated, quote, wealth, I hate the word, by the way, but that's what they call it, and the wealth gap. And unless you had an inheritance, it's usually, hey, you know what? I own a home and I own a small business. So talk a little bit about, talk to people listening in America about, you know what? Open up a small business, buy a house, and you know what? Life's going to work out.
Listen, you and I talked about this, we always talk about the Elon Musks and the Jeff Bezos and the Bill Gates. And yeah, it's great. These people had an idea and they started small. they became big. It's good for them. But the average person, like we talked about, is not going to make it that big. Let's be honest about that.
Yeah, that's true.
So, is it doable to open a small business and succeed, really, without having to worry about competing with the big guys? Yes. Is it hard? Yes. But there are steps you can take to make sure that your business succeeds.
Yeah. When we come back from break, I got a question for you. And maybe, Charles, you've been an entrepreneur for quite a while. You can answer it, too. I'm just going to leave it at that. So be thinking about this mystery question I'm going to ask you when we return with Manny Keriakos. He is the owner-manager of Cheers Deli and Golden Cheers Catering, joined by my colleague and business partner, Charles Parisi, the CEO and founder of Cloudcast Media. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the community show, the nation's longest-running community podcast, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, doing great things in our community. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and you're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, joined by my colleague, Charles Parisi, the CEO and founder of Cloudcast Media. Honored to be in this program. Charles, this can go for 3 hours, and I guarantee we won't even cover 1/90th what we should. Joined by Manny Keriakos. He is the owner-manager of Cheers Deli and Golden Cheers Catering. Here's my question. You have now built this business since 1989, okay? You love it. You're passionate about it. It's your family. Your customers are your family. Your employees are your family. Your business partners are your family, right? You're there 12 hours a day, right? Is the store open after you're gone? Is it still?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So where do you say, this is my baby, that you got the trust in somebody when you leave that it's going to be running well and running to your expectations? That's got to be tough.
Well, I did. Finally, I did. And I had a few months ago an exit strategy where I can be there, but I don't have to be there. So, but the culture is there. I left Cheers. I'm working a few hours a week now.
Right.
But
I got to find out when those hours are, because I want to come in when you're there. So okay.
Exactly. You can text me. I'll give you my number.
Okay.
but we build the culture. My employees build the culture. My customers build the culture. It's time for me to step aside, and so I brought in business partners, and I'm easing out, and I'm working still, and but I do not have all that responsibility that I had. I could work for 12 hours a day. I don't mind it because I enjoy it.
Right.
Let me make food. Let me make people happy. This is what hospitality business is about.
Right. And, you know, Charles, you've been an entrepreneur since age 25, and there are things that you have built up you're very proud about, and now you either bring somebody in as a partner or whatever the case may be, but you've got to have just so much trust in that person that they're going to do it the right way, okay?
Well, yeah, you're hitting on something really important. It's the old saying, I didn't invent it, it's not an original thought for me, but Stephen Covey called it the speed of trust.
That's right.
You can only grow your business based on how quickly and how fast you can trust other people. Otherwise, you have a very limited business if you have to be there 24/7. And again, for Manny, you brought in partners, but they're buying into a culture and an operational mindset. And by the way, logistics, behind the curtain stuff, those little details that people don't see. You come into Manny's place and you get a phenomenal sandwich. But all the stuff that goes into getting that sandwich for you to walk out the door, operational excellence matters in small business.
Every business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Details, paying attention to not everybody has it, of course. So some of my greatest employees and friends at work, they're great workers, and they're honest and very punctual and all that. There is this attention to details in business that formalities, legalities, and all that stuff that it's part of.
Yeah, and you're right. In small businesses, Drew, getting back to your point, you need to be thinking about exit strategy. That doesn't have to be some highfalutin Wall Street thought, because it may be transferring it to your son or your daughter or your nephews or your nieces, but it is an exit.
Right.
How am I going to ultimately, what am I going to do with this business? Look at us, Drew. We have over 60 shows we've built at Cloudcast in 5 years. You host 3 of them. If you had to host all 60, or I had to host all 60, we don't actually have a business. We're just kidding ourselves.
Right.
But we have sitting here in the room here is a sophomore from UCSD, Brandon Joe, the greatest natural networker in the history of the world. Yes, I'm giving him a shout out on TV. He now runs the show on Fridays, and he's coordinating with social media. So to me, it's about building processes that you can replicate with excellence. That's what Manny has been able to do.
So you have a system. Follow the system, you have a culture, keep that culture, and whoever comes in, if they're buying into that culture, whether it could be employee owned, I would have loved to have my employees own the business, but the person that comes into the business and buy into the business is buying that goodwill, if you say. The goodwill.
That's right.
Well, and like you did, you love the brand of Cheers. He loved the Cheers because it was community, and this little Boston bar and all these folks. And I think I want to do the same with this deli out in the San Carlos area, and you've done it. Congratulations, very successfully, and so forth in this. But it's that brand. Charles talks about it's like I've known you as long as I've known Charles, because he always talks about you. And Kenny would mention it as well, when I'd see Kenny in that aspect of it. And, that is not easy to do. You know that better than anybody, not trying to patronize you. There's that Cheers brand. And, whether Manny is working 1 hour a month or working whatever, it's going to have that brand.
And here's another, so you mentioned that word, here's another tip. That's why I'm thinking of my head spinning, I'm going to leave here and we're going to create a new show.
5-year shows.
Here's the thing that small business could really embrace. It's an inverse relationship. Brands lower purchase price risk. So someone investing in a Cheers Deli is buying into a business model that's going to produce sustainable cash flow because of the loyalty of the customer base and the culture. Yeah. Therefore, I'm willing to pay a little more
100%.
For a business that has that
100%.
Than pay less, like, I don't know, Manny's leaving, I'm not so sure the revenues are going to continue. No, you've built a culture, and people are going to come there.
We built a culture based on quality.
There you go.
Okay, so there is small businesses, a big mistake they make. They start a business, and then they spend tons of money into marketing. And a small business doesn't have that ability that McDonald's has. So what you have is quality. This is all you have to prove. Ultimately, the word of mouth is
Absolutely
bigger than any social media or any marketing tool you're going to have. So we form our opinion of a product or service based on quality. Marketing is fine if you have quality. Marketing will bring a customer in for one time, maybe. If the quality doesn't hold up to it,
you lose them.
But and all of this leads to something that it doesn't take you more than 3 minutes to spend with Manny to know this. And Charles and I talk about it incessantly, and that's about relationships. The relationships that you have, as we talked about, with your customers, with your employees, with your vendors, with X, Y, and Z, are absolutely priceless because you can't buy those. Okay. And that is one, if there's something, there's another, it's like I'm shilling for Steve Covey today, for God's sake. But you talk about the emotional bank account, which is another cool thing about it, is that when you trust a Manny, and Manny does an inadvertent slip up, whatever the case, we're not perfect, right? Well, there's going to be hardly anything taken out of that bank account because Manny doesn't. He must have made a mistake. Versus the people you don't trust, and they're always they could have made the exact same mistake, but you know what? This guy's been doing this forever. They just lost every one of their deposits.
You build a character, you build a culture, and that's the trust. We make mistakes, and the customers, and I have made mistakes. And
we all make mistakes,
and the customer. They know, because that's the culture of
100%
the business.
And when you have that in great shape on this, Manny, any final comments? I mean, again, Charles.
I have a question. You can't cut me off. Yeah, Drew, I got another question.
It's my show.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, you know what, Charles? I'd be honored to have you ask another question.
Okay, Manny. Because remember, small business is hard work and work ethic. So tell us, in 35 years. Because I know one mistake you've made at your deli. I'm going to share it live in there, but I want to hear you go first. Tell us.
That's the most discouraging part of a small business, is people give up too soon. Very, very soon into the business, they give up. I see it over and over and over. You open a business, you put that much energy and thought into it, and you are focused on profit from the beginning. Yeah, you have to do your initial analysis and study and all that feasibility study, but they don't focus on the business. They focus on profits. They talk about profit margin. Percentages,
and EBITDA and all that stuff, right?
And I learned a long time ago, and I have a story, but I'll share it afterwards. But one of the things that I learned is you do not take percentages to the bank; you take dollars. So focus on quality. Groom your business, and then you will watch the dollars come in.
Well, it's funny, Drew, I'll tell you, listening to Manny talk about it, I feel really good about what we're trying to build here at Cloudcast, because he knows my old saying from Newport News Shipbuilding Company.
Great.
We shall build good ships here at a profit if we can, at a loss if we must, but always great ships.
Absolutely.
And so we focus on quality and putting out a great product that this community will love. Obviously, Drew's show has been loved by the community for 18 years. But I think every day we think about how can we serve the community with something of a high quality nature. And so I appreciate you saying that you cannot focus on profitability as the sole driver of your business.
Absolutely not. You notice you talk, I was asking you a question earlier before the show about how long has it been since you started the Cloudcast?
Summer 2019.
2019. And in that short period of time, and I've asked you, and you said, I don't make money. How do you make money? I invested back into the business.
We just put it out in the air, and I'm happy to say this. I am not drawing any income from Cloudcast Media. And that's by design.
And that's how businesses are. That's why people quit and give up after 2-3 years. Some people, after 6 months, they just say, oh, I'm folding. That's it. you spend all that energy into putting the business, baby it, groom it.
Yeah.
But we're talking about that earlier, and you said you are going national. That small community circle. Mm-hmm. You notice how it grew, that you are going into other states. My small community business grew beyond San
correct.
Carlos and Del Cerro, and it grew because
You cater all over the county.
I do. We did. Yeah, I do. It grew because, again, it goes back to what product you're giving people at a value that keeps bringing them back.
Well, you hit the nail on the head, Drew. Remember what Kristen said. Drew's co-host on this show is Kristen Fogel, and she heard you were coming on. She couldn't stick around for this episode because she's going to teach at Point Loma Nazarene, I believe, right?
She is.
She knows oh my gosh, I know Cheers Deli, best sandwiches in town. And
She did.
And she doesn't live in San Carlos.
Or she was here, I would have given her a free sandwich.
No, well, I'll take the coupon.
Yeah. Well, listen, what an honor. When Charles said you were going to be on the show and he's talked so much about you, I've been circling this one on my calendar for a while, and it's lived up and even exceeded expectations. Can't thank you enough for coming in, sharing just some of your insights. We're just getting started. Charles has already probably, got a white paper ready to do the, family business show. That probably will be hitting in about 24 hours, knowing Charles, and so forth. Maybe not 24 hours, but it makes sense. Every one of these learnings, and when they hear from people like you who have done it since 1989, it's doable, okay? And it's doable for that blocking and tackling and the quality and all that. So congratulations. Offline, I'll get your email and your cell phone, and I'll be honored to come in and have one of your great sandwiches.
And Drew,
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
You know what? Across the street from Manny's spot is a Mission Fed branch. Let's go live. Let's go live in the community.
We can do that.
Let's go do one from Cheers, and we'll get Mission, because there are branches across the street.
We'll absolutely do that. Manny, any final words?
Thank you for having me on the show, and thank you for letting me share my ideas and thoughts with you.
And we'll look forward to having you back on.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Manny Keriakos, he is the owner and manager of Cheers Deli and Golden Cheers Catering, joined by my colleague, Charles Parisi. He is the CEO and founder of Cloudcast Media. I'm Drew Schlosberg. Been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest running community podcast, down our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, doing great things for us folk living in San Diego County. We hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.